Hi, good evening. We are going to go ahead and get started talking about first year success and beyond. Okay, so this evening we are going to talk about what to expect in the summer, fall, and spring. So summer is going to be the summer prior to starting first year in college. So if you're a family, prior to your students starting their first year in college, the fall of their first year in college, and then into that spring semester. So we're going to go through that first year of college, including kind of the lead up to that in the summer. We're going to talk about some tips and reminders on thriving in the first year. We want our college students to be successful. We have a couple of things that we know work and help to share with you this evening. And then we'll also talk a little bit about university advising, career development, campus living, and campus dining. Our We'll be speaking specifically about NAU, but I would just like to put it out there that all institutions, colleges, are going to have those four things or offices like that. So while I'll be talking specific to NAU and a little bit more broadly just about what those offices do for students, keep in mind that all institutions do have those types of offices. They might be called something different. All right, so first year success. So the very first thing that I will introduce you to is a resource that we have specifically for parents and families here at Northern Arizona University, and that's called the Lumberjack Family Hub. So it is a huge and great resource filled with content, articles, events, and all sorts of things in there for families. So we can keep you apprised of what's going on in the lead up to college, different dates, deadlines, scholarship opportunities. And then if your student does choose to go to NAU, that is also an amazing resource for our current students' families. So things like breaks, tips about studying, just different ways that you can help support your student through college. So you can use that QR code there to sign up for the Lumberjack Family Hub. You will go ahead and create a login. You'll get newsletters emailed to you. We'll send out important announcements. You can sign up for text messages so we can remind you of things such as scholarship application deadlines and things like that. We're super excited to share all of those resources with parents and families. All right, so the summer before the fall semester. So student has graduated, we're in the summer, and there are a bunch of things that need to happen before that fall semester of college. So some really great campus resources that you will be working with, leaning on, talking to, thinking about in the summer is going to be campus living. So thinking about dorms, if your student is living on campus, campus living is going to be a great resource. There's also the Office of the Registrar. And that one is really important because they house what's called FERPA. So that's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So what happens when students come to college, starting that first day of school, that FERPA law says that all of their educational records are theirs. So very different than high school, where mom, dad, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whoever the guardian is, can just call the high school and say, hey, how is my son, daughter, student doing in history? And the school can give you all of that information. Once your student is in college, that is no longer the case. All of their educational records are their own. And the only way that we are able to share any of that information is if we have written permission from the student on who we can give that information to. So that includes things like grades, that includes financial aid information. So just make sure that you are having a conversation about FERPA with your student over the summer. Another office that you will probably be thinking about is going to be campus dining if your student is living on campus. So here at NAU, there are meal plans that students will pick from. Students who live on campus for their first year are required to have a meal plan. So that's a great office resource if there's any sort of dietary concerns that your kiddo has. Also a really great office to talk to. Disability Resources is another office that we recommend getting in touch with over the summer. So again, kind of like the FERPA, Disability Resources does require, and colleges require this, we need the students to initiate the process if they need accommodations. So that is different than like a 504 or an IEP in high school. If your student does have either of those things, we recommend reaching out to Disability Resources during the summer to get that process started, just to make sure that those accommodations are ready to go from the moment that the student starts their classes. That process can take a while, which is why we recommend that you start it early. The Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid. So while you're figuring out budgets, what your out-of-pocket costs are for college, that is also going to be a great office to call and talk to if you have questions about the grants or scholarships on the student's account, how those are applied, things like that. Really awesome resource. Right under that is student and departmental accounts. So that is who you pay your bill to. So financial aid hands over the funding. Student and departmental accounts is who you're going to talk to about your bill or those out-of-pocket costs. If you want to set up a payment plan, things like that. Often in other institutions, you might hear them called the bursar's office, one and the same. So things to discuss over there on the right-hand side. So just really normalizing that discomfort is super normal. Students are getting ready to, if they're living on campus, they're getting ready to leave home. Even if they are still living at home, they're getting ready to start a new journey. So feeling uncomfortable, nervous, those things are all very, very normal. So just continuing to say that those nerves are normal and that your student's going to do great, and that you are there for them, supporting them, is going to help over the summer. Some other things to talk about, drugs and alcohol, having conversations around what the expectations are in your household for your family. Establishing a budget is a great one. So school might be taken care of with financial aid and scholarships, but does the student, are they going to have a job? Is that going to be what they use for if they want to go to the movies or they want to go bowling with some friends? Just establishing a budget and really being transparent about the college costs together, however your family wants to do that. Again, looking at those financial aid offers and also out-of-pocket expenses. So what is covered by financial aid, and what will still need to be paid to the institution. We also recommend talking about packing, so students don't have to bring everything to campus if they're living on campus. So just being realistic about what they do need, don't need, and things like that. And then those 504 and IEP plans. Like I said, if a student has those currently, reach out to Disability Resources as soon as possible to get that process started, and encourage your student's going to have to do the process. So having them reach out, start to advocate for themselves, get some confidence, and asking questions and asking for help when they get to college is also super important. All right, fall semester is here. So student has begun their classes. They may or may not be living on campus. So some campus resources that we think are super important to be thinking about: clubs and organizations. So getting involved, making friends, finding hobbies, things that bring joy outside of the classroom. We're really large proponents of that, the whole health of the human, of these students. So looking at clubs and organizations, we have over 300, I think almost over 400 clubs and organizations here at NAU. So many different things that students can get involved in depending on what they like, whether it's chess or Taylor Swift or video games. We definitely have a club that would fit. Campus safety, so just learning what the campus safety rules are. Campus health, so if they get sick and it's their first time getting, a cold or the flu, not being at home, where do they go? So the different things that we have at Campus Health, including going to see a doctor, urgent care. There's also mental health resources, as well as our rec center, so physical health resources. And then counseling services, that is also under that. Things to discuss with your student in the fall and just to keep in mind, homesickness is completely normal. So if your kiddo isn't living at home, they're going through a lot of change. You're going through a lot of change as a parent and a family. So it's very normal that they are missing home. So looking forward to Thanksgiving and things like that, talking about what they can do to keep themselves occupied in addition to their classes, including those clubs and organizations, maybe going to counseling if they need it, taking good care of their physical bodies as well. Changes in expectations as a parent or a relative. So things are going to be very different if your kiddo is no longer under your roof. So talking about what the changes are in your relationship, maybe going from a little bit more of like directing things like you do in high school to hey, I'm kind of here to coach and listen and guide. So just having those very open conversations. And then encouraging campus participation. So just making sure to encourage your student that there's so many things on a college campus for our students to do, whether that is academic or sports or a different type of club and organization. If, it means going to a concert on campus or the homecoming, fair that we have is really cool. So just encouraging them to get involved, get out, make friends, put themselves out there and have a really good time while they're here. And then also things to discuss, those mental health and physical health. So just taking good care of how they're feeling, being really mindful. This is going to be probably the first time that most of these kids have been away from home for this long. So really setting them up to learn those lifelong skills of taking care of themselves. Academics and finances in the fall. So looking for academic support. So they've started new classes, probably more rigorous and challenging classes than they had in high school. So if they need academic support, that's perfectly okay. That's great. We have tutors, we have academic success centers, we have professors, all sorts of people that want to help our students academically succeed. So looking at how to get academic support is great in the fall semester, setting themselves up to, again, continue to advocate for themselves, ask for help when they need it, and learn how to get through some of those challenging classes. Career services is a great one. So if your student is looking for jobs, either on or off campus, our career services and career development office are going to be great. They hold job fairs in the fall that students can go to find on or off campus jobs. Advising, so talking about major exploration. Maybe your student came into college knowing exactly what they wanted to study, and maybe they didn't, and that's perfectly fine. Our advising staff is incredible. They're really, really amazing people to talk about those things with. So encouraging your student to reach out to their advisor, ask questions, and see what their advisor might recommend for them. Again, the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid, the FAFSA opens up in October every year, and it has to be filled out every single year for the next year. So you're going to want to fill out that FAFSA. Your student's going to need to fill it out. So if there's any questions around that, you'll go ahead and contact the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid. And then again, campus living. So it is wild to think, but in the fall, we already are thinking about housing for the next year. So having conversations with your student about their housing plans for next year, just to make sure they don't miss any deadlines for housing applications for their second year in college. All right, so spring we think of is getting ready for year two. So again, the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid, we're going to be looking at scholarship applications opening up in the early spring. So your student's going to want to make sure that they log into Scholarship Universe here at NAU anyway, to look at what scholarships they need to be applying for their second year. And they need to make sure, how is their GPA? If they already have scholarships, are they in line to continue to get their scholarships renewed for the next year? And are they continuing to meet progress moving forward? Again, academic support, that's never going to change no matter what year they are in college. Just continuing to ask for help when they need it, if they're having a hard time in any of their classes, or would like some additional support. And then in the spring semester, our students start signing up for classes in their second year, which is super exciting. So again, they are going to work with our incredible advising team. All right, things for thriving in your first year. These are just some tips and reminders for students. This list was created by our team, kind of talking to a bunch of different people around campus, as well as our students on things that they kind of wish that they had been told and reminded. Use this list if you want to help your own student. The number one there is just this you belong, right? We want students to know that they belong here on campus. They've worked hard to be here. They belong in education. They belong in all the spaces. So the other tips here, getting to know other students, really important. Plan, learn to organize and manage time. Find a study spot that you love. So some students might really love being in the union where there's a lot of noise around them. That's how they study best. We also have an amazing library. Just finding a spot on campus that they really love to study where they feel super focused. Go to class. This one feels really obvious, but obviously a reminder, go to class. You are here to go to class. You're here to learn. Your professors, all the professors on our campus have incredible curriculums that they teach, but the student needs to be there in order to learn it. Also, if students are getting financial aid, it's important to know that students technically earn their financial aid by going to class. So seems obvious, but we put it in there, go to class. Aim for balance, right? So you don't need to be go, go, go all the time. It is important to rest. It is also important to get out, socialize, join a club, things like that. So aim for balance. Call home for encouragement. Nobody loves you like your family loves you. So if you need a little bit of encouragement, don't hesitate to call home. Review the syllabus. So your professors will give you a syllabus. Read it, write down deadlines, write down when assignments are due, when tests are, things like that to make sure that you're prepared. Introduce yourself to your professors. They want to know you. Getting to know your academic advisor is going to be a really great thing to do. That's someone that will help you through most of college. So really great and important resource and form of support for you while here at NAU. We are here for you. This is for students, just anyone on a college campus, whether you come to NAU or go somewhere else. We are in the work that we are in because we love supporting students. We love answering your questions. We love helping you. So just remember that we are here for you, striving for good grades, do your best, try your hardest, taking time to figure out what your major and or career aspirations are. Don't be nervous to ask questions. Ask all the questions that you want. Utilize the Career Services Office. Like I said, our Career Development Office, they can help you with a resume. They can help you prepare for a job interview. They're a phenomenal resource. Don't procrastinate. So back to the writing things down from your syllabus. Make sure that you're planning ahead of time to study for those tests or write those papers. Take care of yourself physically and mentally. Seek help when you need it. Keep track of your money. Budgeting is very important. And that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, that you're not doing it wrong. You are just in a space of change going to college, and it's very normal to feel that way. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about 100% career ready in university advising. So university advising, So each student is assigned an advisor based on their major. So in the first year, it's a little bit different. After their first year, once a student has declared their major, they will have an advisor. Those advisors in the first year, like I said before, can help a student figure out what major they want to study if they're undecided. They're a phenomenal resource. Scheduling time to meet with your advisor over the summer to be prepared for your first semester is super important. And then advising appointments are available regularly throughout the year. So if students have any questions, they can always reach out to their academic advisor. And if a student is a senior right now in the summer, if you go to our advising website on the NAU, there are steps as to what you need to do before that first advising appointment. This is a sample progression plan. So advising staff will go over this with students, but what it does is each major, what we're trying to show you here is that each major has a sample progression plan that helps students stay on track. What classes should they be taking if they have a specific major, their first year, second year, things like that. Career development. So our Office of Career Development, we recommend that students start meeting with career development from the first year that they're here. They put on workshops and career fairs multiple times a year. You can ask them about internship opportunities for your specific major. So if you are an accounting major and you really want an accounting internship, you would reach out to career development about that. Handshake is what we use. It is a website. Students can use that to search for jobs as well as internships and student employment opportunities. Highly recommend that you check that out. They can also meet with a career advisor to discuss different career options. And like I said before, review resumes, cover letters, interview questions, things like that. NAU is committed to ensuring that our students are 100% career ready upon graduation. Through intentional partnership and curriculum development, they work closely with faculty to align course requirements with career-ready competencies. Some other offices to know in the first year, so campus living. So housing applications do open early. After accepting an admissions offer, students are able to apply for housing. So if a student is applying to NAU and they get their admissions offer, after that, they will be able to apply for housing. Roommate selection can happen based on somebody that the student knows or by completing a match questionnaire. And that questionnaire is really cool. It tries to help match up students based on commonalities. So if you're a morning person or a night person, they'll ask questions about that and then help set you up with somebody that they think would be the best match. Students will be notified on how and when they can select their room, and housing costs vary based on number of occupants as well as style of room. So a traditional room versus a suite room versus an apartment room. Move-in details are also sent in advance, including all preparation recommendations. You can go to our Campus Living website to find out more. They have a lot of phenomenal resources. Campus dining, so meal plans are available to all students, even if they don't live on campus. So if a student is living at home, but they're going to be on campus a lot, they can still get a meal plan so they can eat on campus. Consider a student's class schedule and need to eat breakfast, lunch, and or dinner on campus throughout the week. So some people eat breakfast every morning. Some people aren't breakfast people. There's a bunch of different options. So just talk through that as a family, thinking about how much your kiddo will need to eat. And then meal plans are often required for students that live on campus, be that NAU or elsewhere. Just make sure you check that requirement. And students are able here at NAU to adjust their meal plan within the first 2 weeks of the semester. So if your student calls you and they're either saying, oh my gosh, this is way too many meals, I don't need this many, or the alternative, your student is saying, actually, I'm a little bit hungry. We might need to increase my meal plan. You are able to do that in the first 2 weeks. So student resource guide, if you click on that QR code or use that QR code, there's a really phenomenal booklet of all the different student resources that we have here at NAU. I hope you'll use that. That goes through everything that we've gone over tonight, and some additional resources that we did not cover tonight. You can always reach out to any of those offices if you have questions about any type of resources. We really want your student to be super successful their first year. We want them to have a good time, learn a lot, and come back to you in the summer ready for their second year of college. All right. Thank you for joining me this evening. Really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.